out there? Welcome to all the digital makers. It's Wednesday, and so that means it's time for another episode of Digital Making at Home. This one is a very special episode as it's our last weekly live stream. If you haven't already, say hey in the chat and let us know where in the world you are. I'm Mr. C, and I'm coming to you live from Cambridge in the UK. Back with us once again is my fellow automation evangelist, Christina. Hey, Christina.
Hello. Hi, Mr. C. Hi, everyone. I'm joining from Nebraska in the USA, and thank you to everyone joining us from all over the world for another great episode of Digital Making at Home. Great to see you, Mr. C.
Great to see you too.
Now, we already have lots of folks in the chat early today. Hello. Hello. Oh, I saw Tony earlier was one of the first ones. Go Ball. Hi, Go Ball. Hi, Ben. Ben on YouTube. Oh, sad face, Ben. It's okay, Ben. Make sure to subscribe, and you'll know as soon as we go live again. This is the last weekly episode, but there has to be future stuff. We have too much fun, don't we, Mr. C?
We sure do, yeah, no, definitely. And so shout out to my mum, Tony C. That's my mum and dad at home. Shout out to
Hi,
them.
Mum and Dad.
They're up at ridiculous o'clock. It must be like 2 a.m. where they are at the moment. So shout out for being up.
Love
Thanks,
the family
guys.
dedication. Now, folks, this week, our special guest is Spencer Organ, a computer science teacher from Birmingham in the UK who loves to do amazing and creative things in the classroom. He's been a friend of the foundation and part of the Raspberry Pi community for ages, and he'll be showing us what he's been up to this past year.
Awesome. I haven't seen Spencer in ages. I'm really looking forward to having a chat with him. He's going to be helping me get a moisture sensor going for the automated greenhouse I'm building in the Code-Along part. For those of you who are with us for the first time this week, welcome. Digital Making at Home is all about helping young people empower themselves and others in the digital age by encouraging them to create with technology. On Digital Making at Home, we've seen amazing digital making projects from young people worldwide, made cool gadgets together, and spoken with incredible inventors and makers from all over the globe.
And we love having all of you here with us making cool stuff each week. We broadcast live to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Your comments come through to us live from those platforms, and we love hearing from you all during the show. Feel free to jump in, ask questions, chat with each other, or let us know your opinion.
Yeah, we get all your messages and we love having that input from you. So when we get a great question or someone shares some love, we love to shout you out. So keep the comments rolling in. Nice to see Ben and Rob Z in the chat today. Great to have some friends of the show watching our last episode. But can I ask everyone one favor? Look, make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube. I know it's our last episode, but it really will help us out. And you can head to rpf.io/sub and you'll get notifications on when we're doing some more live shows. So like Christina said, it's our last weekly episode, but we will be doing more live events in the future. So get those notifications and subscribe.
Right, subscribe. Join this amazing global community. And there's so much stuff to learn about, from our research programs to Code Club, Coder Dojo, AstroPi. There's tons of great stuff happening on the channel, so check it out. And like I said, this community is global. Just check out the chat. We've got Canada, Australia, Cape Town, USA. Holy cow, this is amazing. I love when we see folks from all over the world joining us. We're a community of digital makers, educators, and explorers coming together to change the world with digital making. Subscribe and join this digital making adventure.
Definitely. So shall we bring Spencer on now and have a chat with him?
Yes, Spencer, you there?
Yeah, I'm just trying to hack Babbage Bear. Hello.
Hello, Spencer. Hello, Babbage.
Hello, it's Babbage. Yes, I'm just trying to hack Babbage, see what I can do with Babbage. This one's really old. He's a brand new Babbage right from the very start when we had our very first Raspberry Pi birthday. So Babbage, going to put you over there, keep you safe over there on the printer. Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. It's great to see you. Teacher Agent, Mr. C. Hello.
Oh, yes. Thank you
how's
so
it
much for
going, man?
joining us. Tell us how you've been spending your 2021 so far with Babbage, and what else?
2021 is Make a Cupboard. That's my website, Make a Cupboard. I started off in a cupboard up in my back bedroom. I've now got a whole space downstairs now, my little office. And as well as teaching science, teaching computer science, I've been making stuff because 2021 is my year of making. And every month this year, I've tried to make a new project, a new build, something really exciting, just for me or for school or for my classes, whether it's something really big or really small, just something fun. So 2021 has been my year of making. And I can't wait for the next 6 months to see what that's going to bring as well.
Well, Spencer, I feel like I see some of those projects in the background there. I'm trying to look through the camera. What do you got?
So are you actually a secret agent? If I bring the camera down and I'm going to turn it around here and I'm going to show you some of the things we've got.
Awesome.
So my motto is, if I can't afford to buy it, I'll make it. And that's really what I do. If I can't afford it, I'll make it. I absolutely love American Truck Simulator. I love driving games. And I wanted the feel of a real driving kind of dashboard. So I built one with a Raspberry Pi. Little Pi Zero W inside here. Lots of buttons, lots of LEDs, actual car switches. And when I connect to the game, and I have this running in the background, I can turn the lights on, the wipers on, I can make the LEDs flash, I can make the horn sound, and it talks to the game. And when I crash, when I come off the road or my car overheats in an American truck, the little hazards come on and it tells me I've kind of overheated. And when I'm not doing that, it's a lovely little clock for my desk. That was January. February was the Pi portable MP3 player. So I just forget Steve Jobs, forget Apple. I reinvented the
Apple. Yes.
Wear it around your neck. Gets the Wi-Fi. 3D printed it. Love it. That's one of my favorites.
Cool. Love that. The 3D printed case is cool.
March, we were doing live lessons at home, and I was getting thirsty during my lessons. And I thought, what can I do at home to get myself a nice drink? Because unfortunately, my children upstairs doing lessons, they wouldn't bring me drinks. So I built a drinks machine because I was missing going to the restaurants and the cafes. So I built myself a touch little sensor bar at the front. You put your favorite drinks in the back, put your glass, and it pumped your drinks into your glass when you wanted a drink. Awesome. Absolutely love that. What month was that? That was March. April, pirate radio. Literally pirate radio. It's a pirate treasure chest with an internet streaming radio inside and speakers. Again, another Raspberry Pi project. And
I was thinking, like, is it like a pirate station?
Yeah.
Are the pirates? Because you're not talking and doing the songs.
I love internet radio. I love listening to radio online. So you can stream. I must listen to Truckers FM or Radio 4 or Disney. I love Disney, so I listen to Disney films and I stream it on my pirate radio. So that was, what month was that? That was April. May has been my favorite. I call this a Pi Pro camera. Pi Pro camera. Get it? GoPro, Pi Pro?
Yes.
And designed it, 3D printed it, programmed it, touch screen, no, not touch screen, 2 little buttons, and it's a time-lapse camera that you can wear around your neck. You can put it in a little tripod I made or hang it in the car, and you can tell it how often you want to take a photo, how many photos you want to take, and it automatically uploads it to Twitter, syncs it to Wi-Fi, and sends it to Dropbox. So my aim is on holiday, if you get to holiday in summer holidays, the Isle of Wight, I'm going to capture sunrise over the Isle of Wight with my camera, taking photos. And that was
share. I can't wait to see that.
About 6 years ago, and it was about that big with one of the original Raspberry Pis, and it moved across the sky as the sun came up. And this is the new miniature version that you can wear, but you do have to have a battery in your pocket, which is a little bit funny. Now, June, there's no one watching this. This is secret, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, totally secret. It's just us, mate. Just you, me, Christina.
Nobody. Hanging out on a Wednesday.
June project is going to be the best one because I'm a big fan of Pi Wars, which is the Raspberry Pi Robot Wars event held in Cambridge, and I've never built a robot, that could enter maybe a competition. So I want to enter next year's Pi Wars competition, and I'm going to be building a secret robot this summer. So the summer holiday project this year, during July and August, is a super robot that hopefully can drive itself outside. That's the aim.
Awesome.
I've done a robot for ages. But yeah, I missed one out. A little project earlier in the year, which ties into Mr. C's awesome, did you say make an automatic garden greenhouse thing?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So I'm trying to have like it measure the temperature when it's hot enough, and when my soil is dry enough, then I want it to water from the water butt that collects my rain. So I've got a little pump and stuff that I'm going to run off a relay.
Oh, that's brilliant. I am rubbish at watering plants. Okay, look, please don't judge me, everyone. Okay, this plant here is a little bit dried out. Oh dear, it's actually got some flowers on it over there. And that oh no, don't zoom in on it. That's embarrassing. That sweet pea sits in my kitchen, and I forget to water it, and I do forget to water it, and I'm really bad about remembering to go out and do it. So I decided to build an automatic water sensing machine that would decide if it's too wet, too dry, and it'll display it on a little screen, a little bar chart. So I like bar charts, being a science teacher, and that sits in the garden. I think in the garden, in the window ledge. And I think, Mr. C, aren't we going to make one in a little bit?
Yes, mate. Yeah, a bit later on. I've got the moisture
Fantastic.
sensor here. I was going to get your expertise, and like you can walk me through putting it together and
excellent.
getting it to do some readings, and then the rest of the bit I can handle.
Yeah, I will just tell you a little secret though. When you make it, make sure you do still water the plants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's been my year of making. You can't see it because it's just behind me, but I've got my 3D printer at home here. I love 3D printing. Recently, I've been printing movie props for our school shows. When we do drama again at school shows, starting to 3D print props for our shows, which is really cool. And I love making stuff for school. So my students say to me, "Oh, sir, can you make for me a plant pot that's a pen holder?" Yeah, of course I can. There we go. So my classroom's got a few of these. Or can you make me my mum loves roses. If I give you £1, can you 3D print me a rose for my mum? Yeah, I will do that. Yeah. So I'm forever printing stuff for my students, and they all love Star Wars, because who doesn't love Star Wars? So often printing.
Yeah, Joey.
Nice.
So for me, I love digital making. Have you got that already? I love it.
Yeah, it did come across.
How did you first get into digital making? What, like, to be in a place where you're making something every month is so inspiring. I'm trying to just write down like ideas that are just coming to my mind. Like, how did you get started?
Right. When I was a young boy, because I'm not in my 40s now, when I was a young boy, we built a dark room at home. So we did lots of photography. And my dad was an engineer, and we built a dark room, and I love making stuff. And I went off to become a teacher. I love teaching. And about, 10 years ago, Raspberry Pi came along. And that very first time I made an LED flash, it was so amazing. I couldn't believe it, because I've been using electronics forever, but having a computer to control an LED was just brilliant. Once I had one LED, I had two. I had a couple of LEDs and a buzzer, a whole string of LEDs. That led on to a motor, that led on to fans and wheels and cameras, and then started 3D printing stuff. And for me, it all started with the Raspberry Pi and my first time I made an LED flash, because that was just super awesome. I will never forget that moment when that little LED started doing Morse code. In fact, I've got another secret helper behind the scenes. Because the other secret helper behind the scenes was at the very first time I did the first Pi Academy, when I learned to make an LED flash, and that was so cool. So cool.
Awesome.
Yes. Shout out to Mark Scott behind the scenes, making sure this pirate ship is running smoothly.
Absolutely.
Well, I know you. So go ahead, Mr. C.
I was just going to say, like, I love the idea that it's sort of like, and lots of us did get that bug when we were young. Like, I mean, why do you think it's important that we introduce it to young kids, that they start making at an early age?
Oh, because these things are a mystery. I mean, we can teach about how they work at school, but you can't get inside them. You can't see how the screen works. But I can go and buy a pack of LEDs, some button batteries, some wires, and we can make stuff. We can make stuff really cheaply. And whether you're at home with just a few components and a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino or whatever, actually within a few minutes you can create something pretty awesome and exciting. And I think there's never too young to start that. So I did a library workshop a couple of years ago, and at my library workshop we had 5, 6, 7-year-olds creating Christmas lights that flashed. Loved it, because you're never too young to start. Because these things are way too complicated. You can't take them apart, but we can make an LED flash. And for me, that is so cool. And actually, as a teacher, it also helps when you get to your GCSEs or other exams in other countries, when you've been making stuff at home, because it helps your knowledge of these other kind of areas as well.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, I mean, do you use your skills to tech up your own life? Like, we've seen you're making a project a month, but do you ever make stuff to, like, solve a problem in your house?
Yes. Now sometimes my wife gets a bit cross with me when we suddenly got a couple of years back. I love Harry Potter. I love films. I love Harry Potter, and I made the Weasley's clock for home. And it basically had a couple of little servos, a couple of little motors, and a couple of little hands. And when you came in the house, it detected your phone on the Wi-Fi, and it went beep, 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 and it moved around to whoever was at home. It was an old orange box crate with a picture on the front, but it worked and it was beautiful. My wife goes, "Yeah, but I know who's home. I can just check he's come home." So I love kind of creating solutions, sometimes for problems that don't exist, but also I just love making stuff because it's so accessible now to do it.
Yeah, very cool. That's so cool, man.
Oh, for
And
sure.
so-
Like that's like I'm processing the Weasley clock as someone who loves Harry Potter so much. And even you, when you earlier said like you started with a cupboard, I was in my head, I was like, that's a Harry Potter reference. It sounds like Harry Potter, right? To be able to move out that. Oh, I hope. Yeah, I would. That's so incredible. So
I think
incredible.
it's a Magpie Summer. It's an early edition of Magpie Summer, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Well, shall we jump into some coding together? I know you have some tips for Mr.
Absolutely,
C, right?
yeah. So I've got a nice blank file on the screen, Mr. C. Can you see it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Have you got your Raspberry Pi Pico ready?
I do. It's right here.
Excellent. Excellent. And have you? Oh, fantastic. And have you got your moisture sensor?
It's here, and it has a little board attached to it.
It does. Now, can you connect that board up to your Raspberry Pi Pico and connect it up to one of your analog pins? Okay. So not with the digital ones, one of the analog pins.
Okay, yeah.
Because we're going to take lots of measurements. And if it's a digital pin, it'd only be ones or zeros, and that'd be no good for us. So we want an analog pin that's going to have lots of different range and numbers.
Cool.
While you're grabbing that, just saying hi to some folks. I see Carrie Ann. Hello, Carrie Ann. Also, Gobal made it clear that Gobal is in India on Earth planet. I'm very curious if anyone's joining us not from Earth, so please put that.
Yeah, please do mention if you're here, not from
I
Earth.
would love to know.
I would love to know that. So,
Yeah. Also, Rob mentioned issue 56. Rob, I think you're mentioning a magazine that possibly has. Can you clarify issue 56? Is that where the Harry Potter clock is? Is that in a magazine? Do you know the answer to? Yes, that is. Oh, okay, great, folks. Check out issue 56 of Magpie. That's where the Harry Potter clock is, or the Weasley clock is. Awesome.
Excellent. That might not be my one. That might be someone else's, but it's still definitely going to be good to look at. Mr. C, do you reckon you can type in that code really quickly for me?
Yes.
Now, shall I tell you what to do? So the first 5 lines of code: import machine, import time, import EOS, import machine, and from machine, import ADC and pin. They're the 5 lines of code we need at the start of our project before we can use the Pico and before we can start collecting any sensors and sensor measurements, okay? So that's going to be the top of our code. That's the libraries we're going to need. And ADC is our special pin that can measure analog information. Analog.
Could you zoom in a bit, Spence? I can't quite make out. Just make it a little bit bigger for me.
Oh, how do I make it
Control
bigger?
plus. Control plus should zoom in, or like.
Zoom in. Zoom
There we
in.
go.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Excellent.
Thank you. That's perfect. Right.
Oh, by the way, that's VNC running a Raspberry Pi over the Wi-Fi at home.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yes. That's a little VNC window. In fact, that's a Raspberry Pi 400 sat on my desk.
Love it. Love it.
One that I borrowed from school, liberated from school.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm there. I'm up to. I'm defining my read sensor. Function
excellent. Now, we're both going to connect our sensors to pin 26 because that's a good pin we can use for collecting analog measurements. And when you press run, nothing's going to happen, which is a bit of a shame, really, isn't it? Nothing's going to happen for our awesome watering device. So we're going to need to do a little bit more code before we can actually use our readings.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, because we haven't executed anything, right? So far, we've just defined what we want you to do when I tell you to do it.
Oh,
we haven't told it to do it yet, right?
No, we haven't told it what to do yet. That looks fantastic. So we've created a little function that reads the value. It's going to be the value from the sensor. It's going to return the sensor value. Right. Should we go on to the second bit?
Yes.
So the second bit is, if you scroll down, we're going to have a little while true loop, and there we go, where it's actually going to now take the value of the sensor. So that's where it says value equals read sensor. And then we're going to print the value of our sensor, what's coming back from it, and display it on the screen. And it's going to wait every 1 second and repeat it. Because we want to know our water now, in a minute, a bit later still. We want to know it every few seconds. And because it comes back as a number, we need to turn it to a string so we can include it as part of our print statement. And we're using Python here, or MicroPython, and I love Python. All my students at school love Python. They keep coming to me with jokes like snakes, which is a bit crazy. But Python is one of my favourite programming languages. Excellent. So print moisture value plus string value. Excellent. Sounds like we've been at school again, doesn't it?
Now, see, I put my space at the end of my string too.
Oh, good. Did I forget? Yes, I did mine as well. Yeah. Now, when you might ask you to save it, then when you run it, you should start getting some big numbers or maybe small numbers coming up on your screen. Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. C, where's your sensor right now?
It's just sitting on my table.
On your table?
It's here, yeah.
So it's about what 12,000 when it's not. Oh, it's going up a little bit. 14,000 when it's nice and dry. What happens if you dip it into some water? Now I've got a little science beaker of water on my desk, and a little puddle of water as well. Actually, is anything happening to the number? Oh,
yeah, it's going down.
It's going down. So I think if I was in my science lesson, I'd say the lower the number, the wetter or the more moisture is in the soil. And if you take it out again, it's gone back up.
Give it a sec. I think it will, yeah.
Yeah.
It
does go down a little bit. Sometimes it does kind of wobble a bit. Now,
how does the sensor measure moisture?
Well, it's looking for how much electricity can conduct or flow between the two pins. So because you've got two pins with metal down both sides, and it's measuring how much current can flow between them.
Spencer, are you able to hold that up closer to the camera? Or no, it's attached. Don't worry about it.
Unfortunately, it's attached. Mr. C's got one there. There we go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Now, I did learn something to my surprise last night at about 10:30. Don't leave your moisture sensors in your plant pots the whole time, because all the metal from one side of mine dissolved away and disappeared into the plant pot. And being a good old science teacher and a good old, because Mr. C, do you ever give up when you're making stuff? Do you go, it's not going to work, I'm going to give up?
Not really. Sometimes I'll put things down for a minute, but I always come back to them and finish them off.
Yeah, I nearly gave up last night. I went, oh no, I've broken it. And I remembered, it's just a piece of metal. So I went and found a bit of wire, wrapped it around it, soldered it, and actually then worked really, really nicely.
Nice.
Now, I think we can make this bit of code one step better, because you're getting some big numbers, aren't you now, like 10,000? Now, if I said to my wife, hey, Mrs. Organ, Kate, I forgot her name there for a second. How wet is the soil? Oh, it's 10,000. That's too difficult. So what we can do a bit of maths, and we can make it. Whoops, wrong screen. We can do a bit of maths, and we can take the number and scale it up and down. So on my scale, I took off 20,000 because my number's a bit higher than yours. Because my sensor's different make, different brand, and then I wanted it out of 15, so I divided mine by 3,000. Now, that was real trial and error, okay? So I had to do this real trial and error to work out what numbers to use. So I tried taking off a bigger number, taking off a smaller number, dividing it by a bigger number, divided by a smaller number, and eventually I got it from 1 to 15, and that worked really well. So if I run mine now, I'm going to press run on mine, and if I pop it into the water, mine comes now with a score of 12 when it's wet, and if it's a little bit dry, it's 0, and everything in between. If I put it on like kitchen towel. So you could have a bit of fun playing with the numbers, trying to work out what the best scale would be to make it a good number from like 0 to 10. And that's a nice little experiment you could try yourself with little pots of water, maybe some kitchen towel, and just see what you get, see what happens. Because I think a lot of stuff in computer programming sometimes and in making is trial and error, isn't it? You try it, it doesn't quite work. So for example, when I 3D printed that case for my little camera, I must have done about 20 versions of it, each time changing it a little bit. And I think we mustn't be afraid when we're a maker to sometimes fail, and then sometimes also to try again to see what happens.
Exactly, and that's such an important thing because we have to talk about all the iterations, and that's something we talk about so much with digital making at home.
Mr. C, perfect.
Good work, Mr. C.
Excellent.
It's going.
So, and then you can keep tweaking that until you get a nice range. So when it's really wet, it's one number, and when it's sort of 0, and when it's dry, it's another number. You might take a little while to kind of tweak it and keep it in water, but it will work eventually. And you can get a nice range. It took me a few goes to get mine. And then what I did, and I've popped a link in the chat, and you can share it later if you want, is I've made a little 3D printed watering can, which with the watering can, I put a little OLED display in it. And the little OLED display,
so cute.
So cool.
Goes up. The more wet it is, and the more dry it is, it goes back down again. I've also done the STL files, so you could print your own version at home or at school or in a makerspace if you wanted to do your own version.
So
That's
cool.
so cute.
Amazing.
Well, Spencer, yeah, thank you so much for coming on and showing us this project, telling us about your projects that you've made and helping Mr. C. It was really, really appreciated. And I can't wait to see what the rest of the year looks like for you for your year of making.
Well,
really
keep following on Twitter because it's all there. All my projects are always on Twitter and on the website. I love to share them and how to make them. And sometimes they end up in Magpie. If the drinks machine was in Magpie, I think 2 issues ago, actually.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing it with us. It was lovely having you, and have a great rest of your day. Bye, Babbage. Bye, Spencer.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Oh, that was amazing. I love chatting with Spencer and Babbage and hearing about the things that he's done and watching you get that moisture sensor working. Way to go, Mr. C.
Yeah, thanks. No, thanks to Spencer. Like, it's so great to have him. I haven't spoken to him in ages and ages, and he always makes amazing stuff. And the way he explains stuff is always like chef's kiss is perfect. Like, it's just, you get it. He's great. No, he's very good. And I'm excited to be another step closer to the automated greenhouse. Like, it's now got it's got my environment sensor hat in there. It's got that Twitter camera bot that we made with Helen. And soon it will have my automated watering system with like Spencer's moisture sensor. So I'll be able to monitor my greenhouse completely remotely. We're like really lucky to have all these talented friends, eh?
Yeah, I'm just impressed. You've been using digital making at home to really build your own personalized project. That's really awesome. Now, for folks at home, if you are just getting started on your digital making journey, you want to create a project like Mr. C, the Raspberry Pi Foundation is here to help you. Check out our massive library of projects at projects.raspberrypi.org to get lots of awesome projects and tutorials. I mean, Mr. C is building an automated greenhouse with the knowledge that he got here. So imagine what you could do. All the tutorials are translated into a bunch of different languages. So if English isn't your first language, we've got you covered.
Absolutely. I mean, we have some sad news to impart this week to our viewers. This episode is actually our last weekly live stream, as we mentioned before. The team at Digital Making at Home really want to thank our great and supportive community, you guys, our makers and dreamers, for being with us through some incredibly memorable moments in digital making this year. I remember when we had Gabriel on to talk about his homemade lightsabers. I'm sure we have a clip of that because that was nuts.
Let's see it.
Tell us a little about this one.
Yes. All right, is that?
So,
oh wow,
yeah,
double us. There's me and you again.
About a year ago-ish. I was just sitting around and I came up with the idea of what if I had 4 lasers
so bonkers
that just spun around.
Incredible.
And basically, due to a phenomena called persistent.
That's so bonkers.
We've had some pretty amazing guests and created some really cool things over the last 64 episodes with all of you. And those special memories are always going to be with us. Like we had Eleanor talk about her zero gravity experiment. Like, let's look at that.
That was wicked. Yes.
I know we have a clip of that one.
Zero G and a vomit comet.
I know. Oh, I don't know if we could do this. So cool. Oh, absolutely incredible. And those are all like Raspberry Pis in there. I remember us talking about that. You can check out that.
So cool. Yeah, and man, what else we do? We had Randy come in from MIT and talk about machine learning.
Yes, we've got to check. Let's see that one.
Social robots. So if you make robot, you're probably thinking like, oh, I don't know, like wash the dishes for me or clean my house. But we build social robots that can use AI algorithms to interact socially. So this is an example. This is Jivo. And right now we're using Jivo to help kindergartners play games that teach them how to read and write and tell stories.
So cool.
So cool. And then, I mean, at the beginning of Digital Making at Home, we were making these trailers to get folks excited. And we had a trailer where we had secret code and we got Xavier to dress up like a spy. Can we please watch that clip? I know we have it somewhere. Mark Scott, where is it? I want to see it. This is one of my favorite ones.
So
oh, wait, this is... Oh, we're jumping in early. Let's go back if we can. Oh, there we go. Okay, I got it. We're going to start at the beginning, folks. Don't worry. Yes. This is when I first moved.
I do remember this. This is so
to Nebraska. That couch was the only thing I had in this house.
This week, we have to keep it secret.
That's so funny.
How often do you get to be a
So
secret
James
agent
Bond.
at
I
work?
know, right? Double-006,
Right,
it's so good.
right.
Yeah,
Fun
hilarious.
fact,
Shout outs
yeah.
to Johnny.
This week,
Shout
I'm
out to
sending
Johnny.
Agent C
There's
and
Xavier.
Agent
Shout out
X secret
Xavier.
message, and they show
Yeah.
you how to decrypt the
Look at
message
him.
using code and
Chin.
Scratch.
So much fun.
As you were training to
Amazing.
be an agent,
Yeah, we got to do some really cool stuff. I even have one of my favorite photos of you. I'm going to show it. Let me see. I'm going to grab it right now. I didn't tell Mr. C I was
Me?
going to do this. Yes, this is one of my favorite
Amazing. Okay.
moments. Let's see. Is it ready? Is it going to pop up? Because I want to. Ooh, hold on. Did it show? Is it here? Oh, I have to show
Oh,
it.
nice.
There it is. Yes.
Excellent. Yes.
I hope you have this framed in your house.
No, I don't. No, it's pretty great though. It is a good shot. The boys thought it was hilarious to sit there painting my face actually before we did that video. They thought it was brilliant. They had a really good time.
They're like, this is your
Yeah,
job?
that's cool.
Like, this is,
Yeah, I know,
this is
right?
what
Yeah,
you
they
get to
couldn't
do?
believe it.
Right. And we hope you all, obviously, Mr. C and I had so much fun, and we really hope that we helped you all during a tough time. I know I love being here each week. I love being here each week with you all to make this awesome magic happen.
Absolutely, me too. And while we won't be here with a weekly show for you from now, keep your eye on your notifications for updates on when we are doing another live event. We're not going away entirely. If you aren't subscribed yet, getting a ping when the Digital Making at Home gang is getting together again is a great reason to click that button now. Thank you all for being here for the Raspberry Pi Foundation's final Digital Making at Home live stream. We hope you all keep inventing, creating, dreaming, and most of all, digital making. Until then, stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you next time. Bye, Christina.
Catch you later.